All right, so I just got back from watching The Glow, and no, I saw the TV Glow, which is a movie that plays on like identity crisis, escapism, and skibbity toilets. And so, well, real quick, there are spoilers. I'm gonna be talking about what happened in the movie. If you're gonna watch it, which I recommend you don't. If you're gonna watch it, don't watch this video, I guess, if you care about spoilers. But if you don't, keep watching or don't. I don't whatever. Um, so basically, this whole movie revolves around the idea that the characters are part of the show that they like. Called the Pinko Pake, and it's like the show is about these two people who know each other, or but they live on like the spectral plane, and that's how they talk to each other, and they fight monsters every week or something. And there's like a big bad guy called Mr. Melancholy, and he's trying to like steal him or something, or I don't know, trap him basically. And so the two main protagonists, which is this one guy, Billy, I think his name, and Ellie, or Maddie is her name. And so they bond in high school. They bond over the show, and all throughout high school and into like early 20s, I think is up until how long the seasons ran. They're just always well, Maddie watches the stuff, and then Billy, his parents don't let him watch it because one, he has a curfew, so he can't watch it late because his mom, and two, his dad is like, oh, that's a girl show, so he won't let him watch it because it's for girls. But Maddie watches it every day or every week and sends the tapes to Billy and talks about like what's gonna happen, and so Billy gets to watch. And while she's sending him the clips, there's a scene where he's walking through, not the clips, the cassettes. There's a scene where he's walking through the high school or his high school, and then like there's scribbles on the screen, and I'm assuming they're the notes that she leaves him with the cassettes. And then it's like, oh, this is this episode, this one's this one, and at one point they draw a toilet with tentacles coming out, and then they keep referencing these drain monsters or drain lords or whatever. And I don't know why, aside from the sake of trying to be a reference for Skibidi Toilet, I think. There's no other reason why they would bring that up. They bring it up like four times throughout the movie for some reason, but there's zero significance to it. And so, I don't know, I think it's for Skibidi's sake. And both of them kind of, they spend their whole early adulthood or whatever, late teens, watching this movie or movie show. And then they finally get to the season finale, and then Maddie ends up running away because there's a scene where because also Billy would not run away, he'd fake and lie that he's gonna sleep over at somebody's house, but then he'd go to her house, and then like they don't do anything because then at some point they talk about like she likes girls and he doesn't know who he likes because he just likes shows, and they get into the whole uh whatever identity something. And then but like they watch the show together since they're so caught up in it. And then at some point she starts telling Billy, he's like, hey, damn, I gotta get out of the city. The city's gonna kill me. I don't know how, but the city's gonna kill me. And he's just like, he gets scared because he doesn't want to run away from home. So then he stops going to her house, and she ends up running away from home. And the same time that she runs away, the show gets canceled, and eventually he gets sent the tape of the season finale, realizing that the show is finally over. And then he like, you cut to a scene where he has his head inside of a TV and is like busted open, and his dad has to come like take him out. And that's the whole escapism, because like he spent his whole life just in this show, and that's all he knows, and that's the only thing that he can relate to, because they're also like loners and awkward, and they don't have any friends aside from themselves, but they're only friends because of the show, and they only watch the show. And so show's over, his life is over, and then he finally gets like a grip on reality, realizing that it's not like, he has to live his life. And then years go by. Eventually, he sees her again, and she's still like caught up in the idea that like she and him are actually the protagonists in the movie, or in the show. I keep saying movie, in the show. And then he's like, "Oh, you're kind of crazy," but he kind of believes it, but he doesn't want to. Like, he wants to believe that they are part of the show or something, but she truly believes it. He just can't like bring himself around to it. So she says, "Hey, we gotta go bury ourselves because that's the only way we're gonna get truly connected to our characters in the show, and then the show's gonna come back, and then there's gonna be a new season, so they're gonna like be reborn or something." And then he's like, no, you're crazy." So then he like pushes her, he runs away, and then from that point on to the rest of the movie, that's like towards the second third, but she's just completely gone. That's one of the protagonists, and she's out of the movie. So it's just like, what? You did nothing. You said, "I'm scared." Push her out. She's gone. Maybe she never existed. Maybe something. I don't know. It was dumb. And then, so he lives his life, but he continues to be a loner, and he's like, he has problems. And they try to touch on and use these things to make this movie like deep or something, but they just don't do it right, and it just doesn't hit the way some other movies do it, because they touch on the, again, identity crisis, escapism. They kind of hint at like mental health, probably, maybe, and then they also have like neglected households and stuff, but they just don't do it right, so it doesn't give that feel, and you don't get the connection to the characters as other ones do, and you don't feel for them. But yeah, so she's gone for the rest of the movie, and then he lives his life. He's like 50 years old or something. He works at an arcade, and I mean, not that that's a bad thing, but I mean, he's doing nothing for his whole life essentially. He worked at a theater and then the arcade, and he just hasn't done anything from that. And then towards the end of the movie, he has a mental breakdown, and then he remembers something that Maddie told him, that Maddie said that Mr. Moonman, which is the main antagonist from the show, has their hearts and has them trapped. And then so he takes a knife, and it's not like gory or anything, because this is also supposed to be a horror drama. There was no horror. Like, I guess the scariest thing would be him like cutting open his chest or something, but he cuts open the chest. There's no blood. You just tell that it's like plastic or something, and he goes into the mirror. He pulls it back, and it's like a old vintage like a CRT TV screen, and then so I that's supposed to go to like he still has like that connection to his old memories or something, and then like he smiles, and then he just leaves, and he's just goes back to, "Oh, hey, sorry about the breakdown earlier, oh my bad," and the movie ends. It's supposed to be open to interpretation and all these other things, I guess, but it ended so lame, and there's so many things that I guess they wanted to connect on and cross reference between their life and then the TV show, but then also the fact that they just got rid of Maddie, and that it just kind of got rid of a lot of things they're trying to touch on. And so this could have been an interesting and like deep and thought-provoking sort of movie, but they just skipped over all of that. They try to make it a little weird for A24's weird sake. I like A24, but they tend to make weird sort of things, and then they just kind of end it, and it's just, all right, fine. So then I had to do some research because I thought I was just skipping over the whole thing and not caring just because, I don't know, analyzing it weird. And we all agree on what the movie was trying to say and what the symbolism was, but I just don't think this movie did it right. I'm giving this like a 4 out of 10. I wouldn't watch it again. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. It doesn't make you think. It's just a little weird for weird's sake, and it's a forgettable movie.